Hi folks, we've got an amazing guest here. He is an international star, a legend. It is Darren Day.
Oh, thank you.
There you are.
Thank you very much, Darren.
Thank you, Darren.
Isn't that fantastic, Brendan?
Yeah, no,
he's come round to say hello to us and all that. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that, you know, the association, the Dave Courtney Association, it's not something we would associate with you, Darren.
It's not something a lot of people know about, to be honest.
No.
But I'll tell you now, Darren's got a great story there. But Dave really held him in high regard and really loved him as a character, as a man. Do you know what I mean? Thought he was a proper guy. So I'll let Darren explain.
What is the
his
connection?
introduction to him, you know?
That's very nice. No, but Brent, I appreciate that. You know, I do, and it genuinely means a lot to me. That because it is a mad story, and I mean, I've certainly never. I mean, we chatted about this earlier.
Yeah,
I've
never heard this. No, I didn't know about this. I just knew that he really respected you. He always spoke really highly of you. So, but he never told me because Dave was like that.
Was Dave like a musical fan then?
No, just like Darren, because he was a cheeky chap and he was like one of the boys, you know what I mean?
Like a sort of closet Joseph from Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
No, I've never seen him go to any of them things.
But I suppose the thing is, you know, is like I remember the first, because look, I was working on a building site. In the day, I was singing in pubs and clubs at night. I just rocked up to the Palladium. You know, I wasn't trained. I didn't go to drama school or any of that. I was a professional snooker player when I was 17, and so I played on the professional snooker circuit for a year and a half, 2 years. And the singing and all that kind of stuff was just something that entertained me mates. Like when I was a kid, when I was a party piece.
You did Butlins, didn't you?
I was a red coat.
And that's where you got a connection with Dave, because Dave was a red coat at Butlins, you know.
Really?
Yeah, he was a red coat at Butlins.
I was the opposition. I was a blue coat at Pontins.
At Pontins?
Yeah, see, and a green coat at Warner's.
No.
Yeah, see.
And he used to do the bingo, Dave. He used to be a bingo caller as well.
I don't know if I've met anyone who was like a green and a blue, or do you know what I mean?
I did green and blue, and then I did a Ladbrokes, which I think
what colour was that?
I think that was a light blue. Anyway, it's not about me, folks.
Yeah, I never knew Dave was a red coat. But
he's a red coat.
Yeah, he was.
That's a revelation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, and so I don't have like a theatrical background, and you know, for the first few years of me doing musical theatre, you know, because like I said, I rocked out at the Palladium, I sang Any Dream Will Do, closed every door, got called back the following week, and Andrew Lloyd Webber decided to, you know, give me the job, and that changed my life overnight. You know, I got a record deal with RCA from that. I got a free.
And that is so unique, just walking in, because like you said, no training, no background, worked on a building site, was a proper, genuine working class guy, just walked in, sung, and they've gone, you've got it.
But all the musical theatre people hated me.
I bet they did.
You know,
you weren't a lovey.
Well, I weren't a lovey, that's right. You know, and like I always remember there was this mega mix thing at the end of the show, like 9-10 minutes. All this incredibly talented cast who've been to drama school and music school and dance school. Well, they had 9 minutes sweating, working their bollocks off, and then I come on at the very end with my coat. You know, give me my coat. And get all the applause.
Yeah.
And
did they like you? Did they like you?
I don't know. No. I don't know. I mean, but what I'm saying is, you know, like for the first, when I used to go into rehearsals, the first 3 or 4 years, I hated it because people would say, "So where did you train?" I believe, well, the working men's club.
Yes.
I was a pro snooker player. They're like, "What? That's what it's all about." But the other thing that has been always said to me, I mean, not so much now, because I suppose it's sort of, you know, I'm more known for being me now, but back in the day, people would say, I thought you'd be like, people said, I thought you'd speak like Michael Ball. I thought you'd be quite middle class, and you're like, oh, yeah. And I suppose that is why Dave and I got on, because I'm from a council estate.
So how did you meet him then?
Right, here we go.
This is a wicked story.
Can you get my lawyer on the phone?
Wicked story.
Yeah, so
Have a sip.
Yeah. Got anything stronger?
Yeah.
Oh, not anymore, actually. So 1999, I was living in Brighton. And it's very well documented out there. You know, I was kind of the Liam Gallagher of musical theatre.
You was enjoying the fruits of your labour, weren't you? Right to the actual limit.
The absolute core of the fruit. Yes, I really was, yeah. And, I was away with the fairies most of the time. And I'd tear up on the seafront.
Do people associate Darren Day with a tear up, though? Were you like that then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, the drink and the actual bit of gear makes you like that, doesn't it, Dan? It can make you a bit volatile if you're if you got it in you. Yeah. Luckily, I was a coward, so I was always running off.
But I mean, the thing is also, really, from the background that I am from, like I said, I'm from a council estate, and I'd have a tear up before I discovered the naughty drugs and booze and all that stuff. And so, I do remember I had a tear up in Blackpool, and this was before. This is when I just drank normally, like my mates, before I discovered all the other stuff that sort of became the addiction. But I sat with these two blokes outside a place called the West Coast in Blackpool, and I remember front page of the newspapers 2 days later, it was this: beware, this goody two-shoes hits back. I always remember the headline, because at that point I was playing Cliff Richard on stage for Summer Holiday. I mean, when you think about like the craziness
good of Cliff Richard,
we did an album together once, and we both sang a line, and then we came in to listen to it, and guys pressed play, and line came out, and Cliff went, "Blimey, was that you or me?" He's always said, "You sound more like me than I do." But the irony is lovely.
Yeah.
He's a lovely, lovely bloke, and he was very, very, very supportive of my early career. He came backing vocals on my first ever album. Simon Cowell offered him $250,000 to do it. It's nice. So I just come down for the day, have a cup of tea.
Wow.
But the irony of what who I was.
Yes.
This guy from a council estate that liked the girls, that liked to drink, got to like a naughty other, mind altering
Might have been
thing
narcotically propelled at one point.
Narcotically propelled. That's my next tattoo. It was that was the irony.
Well, was it difficult for you being surrounded by the lovies and coming from that council estate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't my. It wasn't my. They weren't my people. It wasn't my environment. Mm-hmm. But what I had to do, I was really drilled into me to pronounce my T's and pronounce my H's. If I dropped the T's and the H's at any point, because back then like television, and I was with a management company that looked after very squeaky clean like presenters and DJs and when I did my Saturday night show, you bet you weren't really encouraged to have an accent back then on telly. Now it is, but back then it was like if you have an accent, you're potentially alienating certain parts of the country, and they won't watch it. I mean, that's
nonsense.
Nonsense, isn't it? So, if I dropped my H or my T, my manager or whoever I was with would be like, So when I went on the telly to begin with, I had to try and speak properly, and I was around. Do you know what I mean? Because I was all right. I'm from Essex. I'm from an Essex council estate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to literally try and change how I spoke to keep, my TV producers, production company, the record company, management, theatre company, and like I say, I'm in musical theatre, so I had to try and adapt and become a chameleon in this new world. And I did do that, and I did what everybody told me for the first sort of 93 to 1997, maybe. There were some pivotal moments. So one was, I did 4 or 5 years, I did what everyone said. I was signed to Simon Cowell at RCA Records. You know, I had a theatre company. Everyone told me, I'll never be the last one left at a party. You know, don't be, you know, caught, you know, falling on the floor, all this kind of stuff. And I did what everyone told me. And I've been away doing summer holiday for 6 months touring. And I came back and I was going out of an actress called Anna, and we went up to... Yeah. But, and anyway, we went up to a party up in North London, and Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher, Johnny Depp, Kate Moss, Rock and Roll City, producer of Radiohead's album.
Wow.
You know. Now I've been on television that night. Hello, welcome to You Bet. Big cheesy grin, big like pineapple blonde hair, you know. My album been released that week, and the Enemy said Darren Day's new album is so middle of the road, he's in danger of getting run over at any point. And this was, you know, and I was playing Cliff Richard on stage on tour and in London. And I walked in there and I saw all these rock and roll people, and I thought, they are going to think I am right, do you know what I mean? And Mr. Gallagher said, do you want a fucking line, man? Now, I'd never seen it before, that's the truth of it. They were like, it was like everywhere. And it's funny how it starts, because it starts with marble slabs and little gold tubes.
It soon changes, doesn't it?
Platinum, you know, credit cards, and then you're in a service station off a toilet seat. That ain't even got a lid.
McDonald's straw,
and that is the rocky road of how it...
So was he the fault? He was the one who started?
Well, I mean,
you're going to blame
it weren't him, it'd have been someone else.
It was my fault, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I went like I'd done it forever.
But did you feel like were you pressured to do it? Did you feel you had to because you were in that situation?
Yeah, totally. I did because I used to read the headlines about me and the things that they'd write about me up until that point. This is the weird thing, you know, when people say to me, you know, sometimes when I meet someone new, not so much now, I don't say I don't care now, but I'm more comfortable in my own skin. But back then, I used to never know which image I was supposed to sort of dispel to people. Are they thinking I'm Mr. Cliff Richard, boy next door, Mr. Moraine,
yeah,
whatever?
I can see how that whole thing would affect you with work and images and all that, and making sure you do the right thing all the time.
Because
for
like
your career, isn't it? Yeah,
because you know, when I started falling out of nightclubs at 7 a.m. in the morning and walking into lampposts, which you know, I actually did on one occasion. The paparazzi guy made a fortune out of me. Straight out of Brown's nightclub, down the back stairs, straight into a lamppost, and he got it like
perfect. Yeah.
I mean, my head must have been on a lamppost for a split second, but he got that, made a fortune. Ironically enough, I saw him around London Zoo a few months back, and I was with my kids. And he had the camera around his neck. He made about 300 grand out of that picture. And he went, Darren, he went, who are you here with? I went, oh, my kids. He went, oh, fuck it. All talk, because I thought if I was here with a girl that I shouldn't be with,
they'd been all over
the picture.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, Brent. It's a really good point. I wasn't Liam Gallagher. You know, people in the early days, they called me the new Jason Donovan.
Yeah.
Then 3 years later, it was the new Cliff Richard, the Cliff of the 90s, they called me. So when that bloke starts to fall out of nightclubs, you don't get away with it.
Yeah.
And what happened to me in the end, for a like my wilderness years, as I call them, is I fell between the audiences. I lost the teenage girls and the housewives and the mums because of the headlines that were being written about me. But you know, the rock and roll, you know, like the NME readers and the Oasis fans, they're never going to think I'm cool. No. So I fell between two audiences, and
was social media, it weren't out then really as such, was it? Thank God for that, really, do you know what I mean?
So did you have all sort of girls outside your house and all that, and paparazzi following you everywhere and all that?
Yeah.
So it's a big lump of pressure, Darren, isn't it? To come from where you are, after being working on a building site, to go for that, and sort of overnight your life changes. It's a big thing to cope with. And being a young man, a good-looking young man who wants to go out and have a shag and have a laugh, it's like all the sweets are in front of you, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It really is, and it was so quick, you know, because I went. You know,
He's not going into that, Brendan.
No, you're right. It totally is.
You couldn't be blamed for that. Do you know what I mean? Any youngster would have been very similar, and I'm afraid once you get into cocaine, was probably the worst drug of the lot. My generation, it was ecstasy, and ecstasy was a far better drug. Yeah. If you had to choose them, I'm not saying we can't condone drugs, but if you had a choice, ecstasy was a better drug. It was a lot more fun. You could dance on it and be happy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Cocaine become a moody, clicky, and it destroyed everyone. Yeah. You know, it destroyed careers, destroyed lives. There's no happy ending with cocaine, as you know. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, absolutely. And it did grip me, you know, from that first time.
Yeah.
Because I remember going in to that party feeling very self-conscious about all the rock and rollers and stuff. And I did this line of cocaine, like I said, never even seen it before. Didn't really know what to do, to be truthful. I was just watching everyone else, you know, and you see it on movies and stuff, you know what I mean? But, and then within about 10 minutes, I was like, I don't give a fuck, come on. You know what I mean? We're going to have a fucking one of those, you know what I mean? And then I was like Darren from the council estate again, who didn't feel intimidated by any of these people, you know? And that's how I did it for the next few months.
What was the worst moment then in that descent?
Oh, well, so that was November 1996, between then and March 97, I just took it recreationally, and I did feel like it was like discovering God, losing your virginity. I thought, this is what I have been looking for. You know what I mean? Honestly, it was like incredible, because suddenly I wanted to be out around people. I didn't feel insecure. I didn't feel like I don't belong. It took all those inhibitions away, you know. And then, okay, so we mentioned that. So March 1997, I was dating a lovely girl, Anna Friel, and I met a girl called Tracy Shaw, who was on Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And the word that they used was dumped. I hate that word. But anyway, I finished with Anna, started dating Tracy. But like, if I'm honest, there was a bit of a crossover. You know, I'm not going to lie and say that there wasn't. I did probably lie at the time and try to say there wasn't, try and protect my reputation. But I was with Anna when I met Tracy, so I was a naughty boy. And
but the drugs do affect you like that mentally, like, so you can be with a really beautiful woman, and the cocaine will just make you go off and do something else. And in that environment, especially where you were with the elite people that you're talking about in that pop world and showbiz world, it's quite easy to get drawn into it and get lost and think, fuck that, I'll do that, without a thought and you hurt people and make mistakes, but you don't really realise it at the time.
No, you don't, Brendan. I don't know what would have happened in the future, but Anna and I have been together for about 2.5 years. Very, very, I just thought she was great. I got on like amazingly well with her mum and dad and her brother. Very, very happy together. And truthfully, and this is no disrespect to Tracy or anyone else, but I honestly don't think, had it not have been for discovering cocaine, I don't think I would have left that.
Yeah, really.
I think Anna and I, I'm not saying we'd still be together now, and happy families and fairy tale ending and all that, but you're right. The choices that I made were not choices I would have made.
They're cocaine fueled.
Have you seen her since?
Yeah, not for a few years, but we did see each other a few times afterwards. But it was really, I was naughty, and I was very badly behaved, and I'm not going to blame it all on the drugs, because you got to put your hands up to a lot of things, and I'm not saying that I was a saint before that, but as you say, there were bad choices. But I remember, November.
That was all over the press and everything.
Oh yeah, and this is what I'm going to tell you now. From the 1996, November 96 to March 97, when I've used it recreationally, I was about to go on summer holiday in Manchester. I was about to go on for a matinee. It was a Saturday, and my security guy came in to my dressing room in Manchester, and he threw the Star, the Sun, the Mirror, the Daily Express, the Daily Mail, all down. And I was front page of every single one.
Cracked it then.
Well, the Heartbreaker, the Love Rat. You know, they had pictures of my exes, victim 1, victim 2. I sound like a serial killer.
There's an old saying. No publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
No, all publicity is good publicity. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
In a roundabout way. You know
I'm sure you didn't feel like that.
Well, no, I didn't. I mean, but you know, you're all right. Because like my management, I remember like getting my management on the phone, what have you done? All this, you know, because they told me not to get pictured out with Tracy, you know. I was like, fuck off, like, I don't cut the lines, I don't give a fuck, I'm not taking anyone's advice anymore.
Exactly.
I've got all the advice I fucking need coming up the straw, mate, that's all I care about. Anyway, but what is interesting about all publicity is good publicity is management company mates, what have you done? Producers of the show walks into his dressing room that night, come on, 100 grand on the box office we took today. I'm like, right. But my point is that day, when I looked at all those front pages, to be serious, you know, because I always think there were like two types of person in this world. There's the Lennons and the McCartneys, right? And from what I gather from people that knew them, Paul McCartney likes to be liked, and John, like Julian, his son said to me, my dad, he just didn't care.
Didn't care,
It didn't matter to him whether you liked him or not. And what a wonderful way that must be to go through life, not having to people please. I'm not like that, you know. And I was about to go out on stage. I had about an hour and a half before I was due to go out. You know, we're all driving the bus, going out of the summer. You know, with all, you know, with the mums and the teenage girls and the Cliff fans and the My fans.
Was they trying things at you?
Well, I said to my security guy, I said, I can't go out. I can't do it. You're gonna have to get the producers in, and all the producers coming. Oh no, I can't. They're gonna boo me, you know, and I genuinely, like, I was so afraid, like, suddenly shit got serious.
That's a cliff coming out in you, really, isn't it?
Well, maybe. but in that split second, I thought, hold on a minute, I know what makes me not give a fuck about what people think about me. So that day was the turning point, and I said to my guy, go get me 2 grams of Coke, get me a bottle of Jack Daniels. He was like, are you serious? Like, and I went, yep. Because that's what I was at when I was out. I had JD, I had the Coke. And I knew within minutes I'd be like, if I don't give a fuck who you are, you know, you might be fucking Johnny Depp, you might be Liam Gallagher, but I'm fucking here, mate, you know what I mean? And let's have it. You know what I mean? Truthfully.
Did you get death threats and things like that?
I never got death threats. I got a lot of blokes wanted to beat me up at that time. I think I'd have wanted to beat me up as well. Like, if I'd have been a bloke in Britain, like, you know, Darren Day, you know, pulling all the...
No, I don't know. A lot of us would have
admired him.
Yeah, we sort of fair play. Do you know what I mean? I'd have to be up there going, fucking high five, Darren. You get my vote, don't you?
Well, no, that's nice. I mean, cheers. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, I don't know, but so anyway, you know, they went and got me what I wanted. And sure enough, you know, half an hour later, you know, half an hour or whatever to go in on stage, I was like, all right, and I went out there, you know, no, of course people didn't boo, and I was selling, the tickets were selling well, because, you know, my profile was...
Now there's a bit of interest in you, isn't there? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think people forget the power of the newspapers at that time.
At the time,
they were absolutely everything, weren't they?
They were, and it's like, it's weird for my kids, you know, when they sort of Google stuff about me, because to them, obviously, and to the young people now, I mean, the tabloids, they're way down the line.
But they were the thing of them days, weren't they?
It was everything.
You know, that tabloid ruled your life, really, when you was a celebrity, didn't it? You know what I mean?
How long did that terrible period go on for, where you were the love rat?
Well, I do
Till you stopped getting caught.
I remember the Sun newspaper ringing me up once and said, Darren, so you haven't quite made Britain's #1 love rap for your 10th year, because the Sun readers voted me like Britain's #1 love rap for 9 years on the trot.
That's pretty good.
The Sunday Mirror.
For accolade.
That's, come on.
I'd love to have got that.
Yeah.
I never won trophy, nothing to show for it.
Nothing. No.
But, and,
Not even chlamydia.
no, I never caught anything.
No.
Nothing. But the Sunday Mirror, whenever they wrote a story on me, they'd superimpose my head on a rat's body.
Oh, I remember that. I remember it.
And I swear this sounds like a joke. Once the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Rats or something fucking complained about my head being on a fucking rat's body, and that sounds like a joke, but it's actually true. How mad is that? It's fucking mad, isn't it? It's absolutely true.
That's like you broke another record there.
Not even good enough to be on a rat's
9 years
body.
as a love rat and then moaned about being a rat.
The irony, Brent. Yeah, and they went, how do you feel about being knocked off and not making it the 10th year? And I went, oh, I'm absolutely delighted, to be honest with you.
Who knocked you off then?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, really?
And I said, who knocked me off? Eddie Murphy. I went, well,
Been knocked off by a proper geezer there, isn't you? You know
you're
what I
going to
mean?
get knocked off a pole.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy's a good one, yeah.
That's it. That's really good.
But I'd say so, 97 through till... I mean, really, I would say it didn't really change publicly or media-wise until I did Celebrity Big Brother, 2016.
So you had to live that
So
entire
you're talking 97, 2007...
20 years nearly, isn't it, really?
It's...
Yeah.
It's
You know what I mean?
Were people shouting at you in the street?
Yeah.
Do you actually have people say love rat in the street?
I had some...
Geezers would have gone, love rats!
Well, do you know, right?
That's just awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
But there was an awful... I like... It was... of all the headlines that there's ever been about me, it was the worst one for me. Was it said when I walked out on my firstborn son and his mum that I left slamming the door saying I don't do family.
That's a bit...
I didn't say that, and even Suzanne, you know,
Yeah,
would tell you that I didn't say that.
That's just a press
It's
statement,
just,
isn't it?
yeah, but you know, propaganda, like it appeared once, appeared 3 times, and then every journalist that's going to write a piece about me, they go back, and people used to shout at me, you know, don't do family, you fucking wank, you're a shit dad, and that was tough. And that would be...
Can I ask you, how tough was that over that 10-year period? Because you must have affected you psychologically, surely.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And would that have fueled the drug addiction more, that stress and that? You know, because that is a type of thing that mentally puts you under pressure too. And the drug's an easy escape thing, isn't it?
I know, and it's difficult because, like, if we was just sitting here talking as mates, right, no camera, I'd immediately say, it did, mate.
Yeah.
But... you know, I'm very aware that I don't want to make excuses for my using and blame it on like the fact. But of course, because I didn't want to go out even. Yeah. I remember walking into a newsagent's. Now my mum did get stitched up a little bit by Piers Morgan. She went to do a story which I wasn't very happy about. Mm-hmm. But I remember going into this newsagent's, and every single newspaper, it was a Sunday morning, Britain. Every single newspaper, every single magazine was me. Love rap, blah blah blah. The most hated man in Britain, one of them. And then I'm like, fucking hell. And then I looked up and one it said even Darren Day's own mum hates him.
Oh,
and I went, no, fuck this, you know what I mean? And I was going to try, and I was rehearsing for a show at that point. So I was trying to get a bit of straight time so I could be all right in rehearsals. I went, nah, fuck this. So I just pulled my cat down further, walked out, and went to my dealers. And then I locked myself away, and I didn't even go to rehearsals for 3 days. I just went AWOL. And in the end,
I'm surprised you weren't suicidal, to be honest.
Well, I was, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I did have a go a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
What's a serious go?
49 cocodamol So that's 30 milligrams.
Yeah, it's
Of
a decent try. It's a decent effort.
500 milligrams of paracetamol. The only reason it was because people go 49, that's
cocaine.
grand, but I dropped one behind the back of the couch. No joke, I just pinged it out. It went over my fucking head. Maybe
so
that
how
would.
close were you to dying? Were you taken to hospital, or what happened to you?
No.
No?
No, the time I tried it before was 30 Nurofen, and I when I woke up,
Didn't have a headache for a couple of weeks.
Still haven't. Haven't had one since. And I'd thrown up. But, I mean, you know, my therapist often says, I don't know how you're still here. He says, I have this vision of you running through the jungle in a loincloth. You're being chased by 3 rangers. They've shot you 3 times with elephant darts. He said, I can see one hanging out your ass. He said, but you're still fucking running. 40 not... you know, the medical profession, the people that I know, it's not so much the codeine, it's the 500 milligrams of paracetamol in each one. There's no way I should be able to take 14
Your livers and your kidneys have done well there, haven't they, to actually survive all that, you know?
And were you still working at that time when you tried those attempts?
Yeah.
Did you have to go in and work and go on stage the next day?
Next day. Yeah.
And how do you deal with facing, because then people pay their tickets to be entertained and you know that's your job.
Yeah.
With all that in the background in your head now, how hard is it to go out there? What is the thing that made you do it? I know you say that you had a bash on the gear and a booze, but you know, was there anything else inside you going, look, I've just got to keep going, or you know, was you just going on autopilot? You know, what sort of, how do you deal with that amount of pressure? It does take a lot of bottle, that, you know, like, to go out on stage without any gear and entertain people, to stand in front of any audience, whether you're just talking, giving a speech, but you were a genuine entertainer that people were paying good money to come and see. So, you know, they were looking for their value for money. So how you went out and done it with all that is actually a credit to your mental strength, whatever you want to say, and wherever you were, the fact that you could do that, that is a very, very big gift that you had and a strength. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
have you ever given yourself a pat on the back to say, actually, you know, I went through that and I've done that, and you forgive yourself, and you know, I mean, that's an incredible thing to do. You got
to forgive yourself for your mistakes, because we all make them. We're all human, and the world, especially that world there, is so high profile, and the pressure of it. As a youngster, it's easy to get wrapped up and lost in it. And today they have loads of different management aspects, and you're all looked after properly. Yeah. In that era, you were just thrown in there, and people just wanted to make money out of it.
But I want to know. I mean, you know, have you forgiven yourself for that thing? Are you all right with it?
No, I mean.
Well, why not? Because you were thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very interesting that you sort of phrase it like that. I mean, what day are we today? So Monday night, 2 nights ago, at an AA meeting, you know, I sat there and said I still can't do it for me, because, like, in recovery, as I am, they always say that, you know, you do it for your kids, you do it for your partner, it won't work. You won't keep that until you do it for yourself. You feel like enough love for yourself. I can barely even let those words come out of my mouth, let alone do it.
Can I just say, I watched a film the other night, Good Will Hunting, you know, with Robin Williams, and there's a scene at the end where he says to the guy, he said, "It's not your fault," and that's really when the guy breaks down eventually, and you know, it isn't your fault.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Yeah, I still, I don't know. I still feel like it is. I think.
I think you've got to take it off you.
Yeah, I do think you're putting a weight on your shoulders, Darren. I've lived with someone who had alcohol problems, who had stress and that. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you've got to look back. The pressure around you, you are a product, as Dave would say, product of that environment at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all only human.
You come from a counsellor, so
you know.
Thrown into that environment, you've got to go and perform every night.
And without any real mentor to look after you and no one to guide you. Yeah, so it's easy, like you said, to do the thing you do. But the thing I think you haven't noticed about yourself is the fact that you've kept going through all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Tenacious courage.
That's unbelievable
Thank
courage
you.
in its own
Yeah,
way. You know what I mean? And
So it's not your fault.
No, the only person that I have these conversations with who I know gets it, like Robbie Williams, is
yeah.
basically, I mean, Rob saved my life 2019, no question about it. I was, my marriage broke up after 13 years, I wasn't living with my kids. I was 4.5 years, just over 4.5 years sober, straight and sober, and I went off the rails, you know. And I was touring, I was on stage every day, but I was managing to get through, do the stage stuff and not drink until after. But I would run to my dressing room and I'd have a shot glass and a bottle of Absolute vodka. And before the girl used to come in to, you know, take the costumes out, well, I'd down 5. I'd make sure I'd done 5 shots before she came in. It was bad. As one day I was heading to a theatre and I started crying on the motorway and I couldn't stop, so I called Rob. And he said, I hear your pain. He said, look, when can you give me 3 months of your life? And this was, I think, November 2018. I said, well, not until, I can't take any time off until February. I said, Rob sent me to rehab in South Africa, sent me away for 3 months. He put his team, the team that had helped get him sober, he put the team on me and it saved my life without a question, because when I got to South Africa they gave me 6 months to live. Right, I was in a bad way. Now Rob and I had these conversations because he went through this where it was, he felt that it was his fault. He's years and years and years sober now, and so he says these things to me and I do listen to them, but we both know how difficult we find it because of a low self-esteem. I mean, Rob is a great example of someone, he comes out on stage, I'm Robbie fucking Williams, you know what I mean? That isn't who Rob is. Anyone that knows Rob well doesn't call him Robbie, he's Rob, you know, and Robbie Williams is the alter ego, that's how he describes it. I love how he describes it. At the opening night of his tour 2 years ago, and we'd pretty much done FaceTime all the way through lockdown for hours and hours, and he was writing a new album, he'd write a song, he'd send it to me, what do you think of this, Daz? And then the opening night of at the O2, and he walks out, I'm Robbie fucking Williams, this is my band, this is my arse. You know, like, he owned the stage from the second he came out. Afterwards he said to me, I was shit, Daz. And I went, what are you talking about? He said, all right, well, for the first 5 numbers I was shit. I went, what do you mean? He said, Robbie Williams didn't turn up till song 6. That's how he described it, which I just loved. But I said to him, mate, you were phenomenal. But that's me. It's like, I think people think that I've got all the confidence in the world. I go out there and do this, and the few people that I do let my guard down to, I think I got to the point where I used to walk into a room, no joke, I'm not saying this for any kind of empathy or anything, quite the opposite. It's just factual that all the headlines and the stuff that was written about me, I would walk into a room and naturally assume people didn't like me. Like that, I assumed that whole room had
so
read about
that was
me.
a mental scar left on you from the press coverage then, do you know what I mean? That is a form of PTSD.
Yeah.
That is exactly how Rob describes it. I mean, and people would say to me, people I worked with around that time would say, 2 or 3 days in, like someone in the show would say, I thought you'd be a right wanker, but you're all right, aren't you? And I used to go, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You don't know how to take it.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Well, thanks for thinking I'm all right. But you've basically just reinforced in my head the fact that I assume everyone thinks I'm a wanker. And I do think, generally speaking, that was...
Did you ever feel like you wanted
case.
revenge? That you wanted to track down some of these photographers and stuff?
I'd say 95% of it was hurt, to be honest, which I don't find it easy to say that, because like it's not easy to make self vulnerable, is it?
No.
But there was a 5% of the council estate boy that certain journalists, I thought, you know what, I would make you beg for your mummy. Do you know what I mean?
But the only way you'll ever go forward in that, though, is you have to forgive all of it. You have to look at them people that done that to you. Don't hold any anger for them. That was their job at the time. You were just an object for them to make money.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Do you know? So you've got to look at it like that to help yourself mend, and don't hold any anger or any issues with it. You know, honestly, I can promise you that if you do that, you'll find a bit of freedom with it, because it was just a job for them. Yeah, it weren't personal on you. You were just another headline for them.
Yeah.
And now they'll do it to someone else. But if you can see that and let go of it, you know what I mean? Underneath, you were going through your own journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't be hard on yourself, but don't hold any anger with it.
No, it's not good.
It's not good for you.
Someone put it in perspective to me once. Journalist called Matthew Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And Matthew worked at the Daily Mirror when Piers Morgan was the editor there, and Piers and I had a fallout way back, and Matthew Wright told me he would go into the office to Matthew's desk 2 or 3 times a week. He'd find a little story, and his words were, "Go and fuck Darren Day again." Do you know what I mean? Matthew told me. But what was interesting and quite enlightening and very interesting to what you've just said is when I met Matthew, he said, "Were you hurt by those things?" I went, "Was I hurt, mate?" I went, "What do you think? My nan used to phone me up and like in tears, you know." And in a jokey way, certain headlines she'd say, "Darren, I can't go up the fucking bingo tonight now." She said that like the women could have, you know, your penis has been on the front page of the fucking Sunday Mirror with a censored sign up. I'm like, well, it ain't my fault, Nan. I didn't sell the story, I didn't sell the pictures. Do you know what I mean? But it was interesting.
Remember, and no publicity is bad publicity.
No, that's right. But he said to me, God, he said, to be truthful, he said, "I never thought of you as a real person." He said, "I thought of you as a soap opera character almost."
Yeah.
That you weren't like, you know, and that you would have not been at all like affected in any way by my headlines.
And I was lucky because Dave had a wonderful attitude with the press. He told me years and years right at the start, he went, "Brendan, the only way to deal with the press is go head on full steam into it and go, yeah, I'll go to swinging parties, I'll fuck loads of birds, I'll do whatever I want, I'm going to take drugs, I'm going to get pissed, how many photos do you want?" And then it's not a story, because they go, "Oh, he's just fucking told us everything."
Yeah.
And then because he had that lifestyle,
it's different if you do
it's obviously if you're playing Cliff Richard, that's a bit difficult, but he managed to embrace that because of, and his persona for the press and his character was pretty similar to what he was indoors, to be honest.
Well,
because
when did you get to turn it round though? Was it going into Big Brother or I'm a Celebrity or what was it?
Oh God, no, I'm a Celebrity. No, I mean, I'm a celebrity. I mean, I went cold turkey in front of the whole country. I mean, that was 2002. It was the first ever series, and I'd taken cocaine every day of my life from March '97. So for 5 years.
5 years of it, yeah.
And because who was it? Richard Madeley, who was on the ITV morning show I did.
Alan Partridge.
He is, isn't he? He is Alan Partridge, isn't he?
He
absolutely
Steve
is.
Coogan based him on that, didn't he? That's a fact, you know. Steve Coogan based Alan Partridge on Richard Madeley.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Well, he said to me that, well, I almost want to do it like Partridge. You know, he said to me that one, "Did you go into the jungle to get sober?" I said, "No." I said, "I was absolutely smashed when I got on the plane, Richard."
Yeah.
This is live telly, and I'm suddenly going, "Oh shit, no, what the..." He said, "Well," and then he said, "Well, how soon, you know, before you got on the plane, when had you done the last line of cocaine?" He said it is out there as that, and had your last drink. I said, "At the fucking airport." I didn't say fucking.
Yeah.
I went at the airport.
Yeah.
And then they said, "So what happened when you were in the jungle?" And I said, "Well, I went cold turkey in front of the whole country." And I turned around, my PO lady's going, live telly, I'm supposed to be talking about the musical I'm going into like the following night. But that is the truth. I was smashed when I got on the plane, you know, and I was...
So was it Celebrity Big Brother that Yeah.
That's what dispelled it. I mean, I was a nutcase in the jungle.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a lawyer thing, but
we'll edit it.
Well, this is something also I've never told anyone. A couple of people, but certainly never. But I smuggled weed into the jungle in my pants. No joke, because I knew how. Hold on a minute. I got 3 days at the hotel where they put you in a hotel for 3 days or whatever. 3 days, and suddenly I'm on my 4th day with no cocaine after 5 years. I'm going off my head. I fucking had a chat with someone out there. Get me some weed, in my pants. So for the first week in the jungle, I'm eating it and then I won a cigarette in a challenge, like a task, bush tucker trial thing. And it was raining, because we used to do it in the summer, which is Australia's winter, so it's been raining. You don't really see that on there now. And I had a canopy over, and I emptied the cigarette out, and I filled it with weed. And live on telly, that smoke that was coming out.
That was weed.
I was having a spliff. Then I ran out. So the second week is when I
car crash.
Car crash telly,
Yeah.
and my kids send me things on YouTube that I'm honestly embarrassed about my behaviour. The ground swallow me up. That was really mainly the reason I did Big Brother when I was asked to do it 2016.
But you've got to look at them now, Dal, and laugh. You've got to look back and laugh at that. Don't be embarrassed, laugh at it. It was part of your life
it's
journey.
not going to be easy, Brendan.
But it is the only way to actually. You've got to laugh and take the piss. I'm telling you, the only way you get over that is you go, "That's fucking funny. Look at me. Look, that is funny." But I'm at the other end now. But I was there, and I've come this far.
Well, no, cheers, mate.
Do you know what I mean? And laugh at it. Don't get embarrassed about it.
And what a life! What a life you've
What
had.
an actual
Well, it has been
legend.
mate.
Do you know what I mean?